probably heard the rumor that watermelon is nature's Viagra. And look, there is absolutely some truth to that statement. It is not just clever marketing or an old wives' tale. However, here is the secret that nobody tells you. Eating watermelon by itself barely works. The men who actually see results, the ones who notice a tangible, real-world difference in their performance, are not just eating a slice of fruit. They are mixing it with specific ingredients. It is that precise combination that transforms watermelon from a refreshing summer snack into a powerhouse that genuinely supports blood flow right where it matters most. I am Dr. Evelyn Hartwell, and after spending over a decade working in urology and men's health, I see a frustrating pattern literally every day in my clinic. I see men doing everything right on paper, eating all the superfoods, exercising and trying to stay healthy, yet getting almost nothing out of it. Watermelon is the perfect example of this phenomenon. So, I want to walk you through a few things today. We're going to cover the hidden factors that are likely blocking your progress without you even realizing it. And then we will get into the actual recipe and the multiplier effect I mentioned. That mixing part is where this gets truly interesting. I have to warn you, though, if you just skip ahead to the recipe, you're going to miss the context that makes it work. The recipe itself is dead simple, but understanding why your body might be blocking the benefits before they ever hit your bloodstream is complex. So stick with me through the science first, and I promise we will get to the practical application. Let's start with something that is going to catch you completely off guard. The first thing we need to investigate is your mouthwash. I know that sounds strange. What could fresh breath possibly have to do with blood flow or erections? As it turns out, the connection is direct and profound. Your mouth contains bacteria, not the bad kind that causes cavities, but essential, friendly bacteria. There are colonies living on the back of your tongue that are responsible for converting dietary nitrates into nitrites. This is step one in a critical chain reaction that eventually produces nitric oxide, the molecule that tells your blood vessels to relax and dilate. When we are talking about erections, that dilation is the whole ballgame. Let me back up for a second and explain this pathway more clearly, because once you understand this, everything else clicks into place. When you eat nitrate-rich foods like beets, leafy greens, or watermelon, those nitrates enter your saliva. The bacteria on your tongue possess enzymes called nitrate reductases, which convert those nitrates into nitrites. You then swallow the nitrites, and when they hit the acidic environment of your stomach, they are converted into nitric oxide. This is known as the enterosalivary pathway, and it accounts for a massive chunk of your body's daily nitric oxide production. Some researchers estimate that up to 25% of the nitrates you consume get recycled through this specific oral pathway. That is not a minor contribution, it is essential. So, what happens when you use a strong antiseptic mouthwash, especially the kind containing chlorhexidine? You are sterilizing your mouth. You are nuking those bacteria. When those bacteria are gone, that conversion process simply stops. This isn't speculation. A study published in Free Radical Biology and Medicine found that using antiseptic mouthwash significantly reduced the body's ability to convert nitrates. Within just a few days, participants showed measurable increases in blood pressure because their blood vessels were not getting the signal to relax. If you are eating all the right foods to support circulation, but swishing with antiseptic mouthwash twice a day, you're basically canceling out the benefit. The nitrates go in, but the bacteria aren't there to process them, so they just pass through. I am not saying you should throw out your oral hygiene routine, but if circulatory health and performance matter to you, consider switching to a non-antibacterial option or just rinsing with salt water. Your oral microbiome will thank you. Then there is vitamin D. This one is less obvious, but arguably critical, especially for men over 60. Vitamin D plays a direct role in endothelial function. The endothelium is the thin layer of cells lining every blood vessel in your body, and it is the tissue that actually produces nitric oxide. When your vitamin D levels are low, your endothelial cells become sluggish. They produce less nitric oxide, and your blood vessels lose their ability to dilate properly. I want to spend a moment on the endothelium because most people have never heard of it. Yet it is arguably the most important tissue in your body regarding sexual and circulatory health. It is a single layer of cells, incredibly thin, coating the interior surface of every artery, vein, and capillary. If you spread it out flat, it would cover roughly the area of 6 tennis courts. This tissue is not passive. It is constantly sensing, signaling, and responding to changes in blood flow and pressure. One of its primary jobs is producing nitric oxide. When blood flows past these cells, the shear stress triggers an enzyme that produces nitric oxide, which then diffuses into the surrounding muscle cells and tells them to relax. That is the mechanism of an erection. When your endothelium is healthy, this happens seamlessly. But when it is damaged by inflammation, oxidative stress, or nutrient deficiencies, nitric oxide production tanks. I see this constantly. Men come in with performance issues, we run their blood work, and their vitamin D is in the basement. They live indoors, they live in northern climates, and they don't supplement. The fix is straightforward. Get your levels tested, and if you are low, supplement. Most men over 60 need somewhere between 2,000 and 5,000 IU daily, but talk to your doctor. If your vitamin D is deficient, your endothelium isn't working. And if your endothelium isn't working, all the watermelon in the world won't help. The next barrier is the sodium-potassium imbalance. Most men know that too much sodium is bad for blood pressure. But what they don't realize is that potassium is equally important, and most people are severely deficient in it. These two minerals work together to regulate fluid balance and blood vessel tone. When you have too much sodium and not enough potassium, your blood vessels constrict and become less flexible. The average American consumes way too much sodium and not nearly enough potassium. This ratio is backwards. You should be getting more potassium than sodium. Watermelon actually helps here, as 1 cup contains about 170 milligrams of potassium. It's not a massive amount, but it contributes. If you fix this ratio in your diet, everything else works better. We also need to talk about shallow breathing. This almost never gets discussed, but nitric oxide is produced not just in your endothelium, but also in your nasal passages. When you breathe deeply through your nose, you are stimulating nitric oxide production in the sinuses. That gas gets carried into your lungs, where it helps dilate blood vessels and improve oxygen delivery. If you are a mouth breather or take shallow, chest-level breaths, you are bypassing this mechanism. I tell my patients to practice slow, deep nasal breathing for just 5 minutes a day to support the exact same pathway that watermelon supports. Finally, before we get to the recipe, we have to address insulin spikes. When you eat foods that cause rapid spikes in blood sugar, like refined carbs or sugary snacks, your body releases a surge of insulin. High amounts of insulin damage the endothelium and create oxidative stress, reducing nitric oxide availability. This is why eating watermelon by itself, especially just the sugary red flesh, isn't optimal. You're getting some beneficial nutrients, yes, but you are also getting a glycemic load that can trigger an insulin response. The key is combining watermelon with other nutrients that slow absorption. This brings us to the multiplier, the mixing part one mentioned at the start. But first, you need to understand why watermelon works. The real magic is an amino acid called L-citrulline. Your body converts it into L-arginine, which is then used to produce nitric oxide. You might wonder, why not just take L-arginine directly? It's a good question. The answer lies in something called first-pass metabolism. When you swallow L-arginine, a huge percentage of it gets broken down by your liver and intestines before it ever reaches your bloodstream. L-citrulline, however, bypasses this problem. It enters your bloodstream intact, travels to your kidneys, and is converted into arginine there. This means more of it actually becomes available for nitric oxide production. Here is the catch. And this is the part most people get wrong. Most of the citrulline is not in the sweet red flesh. It is in the white rind, the part everyone throws away. Studies have shown that the rind contains up to 3 times the concentration of L-citrulline compared to the red flesh. When you slice off a wedge, eat the red part, and toss the rest, you are literally discarding the most valuable portion. I had a patient last year, a retired engineer, who tracked his intake. He estimated that by using the rind, he was getting roughly 4 times the citrulline from the same watermelon. I know the rind is bland and a little tough, but that is where the preparation comes in. To seriously boost the effectiveness of the citrulline, you need to mix it with 3 specific things: healthy fat, vitamin C, and piperine. First, healthy fat. L-citrulline is water-soluble, but other beneficial compounds in watermelon are fat-soluble. Adding a small amount of fat like olive oil improves absorption and slows digestion, reducing that insulin spike. Just 1 teaspoon of extra virgin olive oil is enough. Second, vitamin C. Nitric oxide is highly reactive and gets destroyed by oxidative stress quickly. Vitamin C is a potent antioxidant that protects nitric oxide from degradation. When you consume vitamin C alongside citrulline, you are extending the lifespan of the nitric oxide your body produces. The easiest source is fresh lemon juice. Just half a lemon squeezed into your mix. Third, piperine. This is the compound that gives black pepper its heat. Piperine has been shown to increase the bioavailability of various nutrients by inhibiting enzymes in your gut and liver that would otherwise break them down. Adding just a pinch of black pepper can significantly increase how much citrulline makes it into your system. So here is the exact protocol. You will need 1 cup of white watermelon rind cut into chunks. You will also need half a cup of the red flesh. This is important for taste because the rind alone is essentially undrinkable. You need the juice of half a lemon, 1 teaspoon of extra virgin olive oil, and a pinch of freshly ground black pepper. Put the rind and the red flesh in a blender together. Add the lemon juice, the oil, and the pepper. Blend it until it is smooth. The red flesh provides natural sweetness that masks the blandness of the rind, while the lemon adds a tart kick. The result should taste like a slightly tart, peppery watermelon smoothie. It's not a dessert, but it is genuinely drinkable. Ideally, drink this once daily in the morning on an empty stomach. Consistency matters more than perfection. If you miss a day, just get back to it the next morning. The benefits are cumulative because your endothelium responds to sustained support, not one-time doses. Now, here is the honest truth. This protocol works and it is backed by science, but it requires consistency and volume. To get a clinically meaningful dose from the rind, you need to consume about 1 to 2 cups of it daily. For some men, that is fine. For others, especially men over 60 who might have digestive sensitivities or just don't want to blend watermelon every day, it isn't realistic. That is why I recommend having a backup option. In the description below, you will find a link to a high-grade organic watermelon extract. It is concentrated citrulline from the rind, standardized to deliver a clinical dose in a form that is easy to take daily. It requires no blending and no prep, it's just consistent support. For men who want something with a faster effect, perhaps for specific performance situations while they build their baseline, there is also an advanced erection solution linked in the description and pinned in the comments. Use what makes sense for your lifestyle. But understand this isn't just about erections. I know that is likely why you're reading this, and that is fine. But the nitric oxide pathway affects every blood vessel in your body, your heart, your brain, and your kidneys. The 1998 Nobel Prize in Medicine was awarded for the discovery of nitric oxide as a signaling molecule. That is how significant this is. It changed our entire understanding of circulatory health. You have the ability to influence this system every single day through what you eat and how you live. The watermelon protocol is a powerful piece of that puzzle. So here is your assignment. Get a watermelon, save the rind, make the preparation with lemon, olive oil, and pepper, and see how you feel. And if you want the consistent benefits without the daily kitchen prep, check the links in the description for the organic extract or the advanced solution. Stop eating watermelon the wrong way and start using it to actually change your health.